So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's In The Know podcast. I'm pleased to introduce my guest today, Ed Dymott, who's the CEO of Benchmark Capital. Thank you for joining me today, Ed.
Hi, James. Very welcome. Yeah. Nice to chat to you today.
Likewise. So we have a few topics to unpack as I'm keen to learn more about Benchmark and also some of the trends in the market. And the interesting one, which is always what does the future hold? But maybe a good starting point is to start with you, Ed, if I may. So maybe you can tell us about your early career and what initially drew you into this wacky world of financial services.
Oh yeah, no, of course. So I guess this is going to sound a bit cliched because like many people who found themselves in financial services, especially into financial planning, this was never the big career plan or path. So I guess if I take myself back right to, I guess, when before university, I was always creative, but relatively technical and had good math skills and stuff like that. So actually, if I went back 30 years ago, I wanted to be an architect. Probably if I had my time again, that was probably always the dream. In one way or another, actually, I ended up qualifying as a car designer, believe it or not, at the university. Wow. So that was my original degree, and I guess when I came up to university, one thing I knew, having completed my degrees, one thing I knew I didn't want to be was a car designer. And so, as quite often people do, I joined a graduate program at a financial services firm. That was as much an early career choice in terms of looking at what friends and peers were doing in terms of career paths. And I guess I definitely did sort of fall into it initially. I guess then, having joined as a graduate 25 years ago, you start to open your mind up into the whole world of what financial services becomes. And so I originally worked for a very large investment management firm, but I started to do a lot of work on their retail and wealth side of their business. And I guess the sort of career path sort of grew from there, really. I guess, if I look at some of, my background and whether it's university education or even before that, whether it's, creative skills, whether it's technical skills, I guess you still fall back onto some of those core skills today, really. But yeah, it was never. I was never one where that would. It was never going to be the big career path 25 years ago. But look, I subsequently had a fantastic career, all in financial services and all really in the wealth markets.
So, what was it about not being a car designer? Because I think that would have been fantastic. Almost, pardon the pun, living life in the fast lane. But to me, that sounds really exciting. So why did you not want to become a car designer having studied that?
And I will bring this back into the here and now. I'm a big believer in sort of purpose and passion, etc. And there's definitely a curiosity about that as a path. I probably wasn't as passionate about that subject as other people were. I'm not a car nut, etc. And that's not really me. And people who go and do those are absolutely obsessive about that. I think if I was honest as well, the people who were very passionate and capable, my goodness, there were some brilliant people who go down those paths. And I guess, my dream was when I started that was, I wanted to be the person building the sort of the sort of actual design of the car, the aerodynamics part. My goodness, there are some brilliant people who could do that. And to be fair, I pretty quickly worked out that that probably wasn't the right path for me, both in terms of purpose and passion, and probably being good enough to do that type of career, really. And so yeah, that was probably an honest appraisal. And I think many of my friends who went down that path, some ended up working in Formula One and having those careers. You think that others end up working for Ford, designing the latest gear stick, and that didn't really fulfill what I felt was going to be my natural career path. And I guess that's one of the things with early education is quite often you're not in a position to make informed choice at that point. So what feels like a sort of your natural instinct was exactly mine. Go, wow, what what an interesting industry to work in. I think until you start really being exposed to that type of industry, you might go, do you know what, that really isn't for me. And even if I went back, into first graduate job when I worked at Fidelity, my natural instinct originally was, wow, maybe I want to be a fund manager. And it's only when you start to understand what those individuals do, what the job entails, your purpose, your passion, your capability, you start to sort of go, actually, that probably isn't necessarily the thing that might fulfill you in terms of your career.
And can you tell me a bit more about your career in terms of where you've been? Because I noticed, you've worked for some, large organisations. Obviously, we know where you are now. But can you just give us that little bit of potted history in terms of the types of companies that you've worked for, but also what areas did you get involved in?
Yeah, no, good question. So, I guess I've got 25 years or so in financial services. The vast majority of that, I was with Fidelity for a very long period of time. So for 17 of those, and really, I guess I've worked at three very large brands across my career. So in Fidelity, Aegon, and now more recently with Schroders and Benchmark. A lot of my sort of historic background has been quite interesting. So I've always worked in technology-orientated roles and businesses. There's always been a sort of big technology part to what I've always done. There's always been a growth element to what I've done in terms of roles. So it tends to have been in sort of fast-moving businesses within larger corporates. And there's a lot of that has been sort of a strategy and product point of view. So really thinking about what's the right strategy to explore and what are the products that we need to be building or creating to meet sort of current and future client demand. So yeah, I have spent most of my career in three large financial services businesses. I've also spent a bit of time as an independent consultant. I did a lot of work in the private equity space during that time, but that was all with a sort of financial services and technology focus to it overall.
And being in the industry, nearly 25 years, what would you say? Which I think, to be fair, you've probably seen a lot of change because it's been quite turbulent. We've had recently the pandemic, we've had the global crash, etc. So you've been in this industry during those times. What would you say have been the key lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things, and I think change is an interesting word. So I think, how do you drive change in whatever role and whatever business you're part of? And there are things obviously you can always control and you want to do yourselves. I'll quote Mike Tyson here, who said something along the lines of that everyone has a plan until someone comes and punches you in the face. And I think that's the thing is, you take all those things that are outside of your control, whether it is the pandemic, whether it's regulatory change, and it's how do you react to the things that you can't control. I think become the important part thing. And I'm also, I'm a big believer in that sort of mindset, which is so many people worry about the things they can't control, and that occupies a lot of their time. And I think what you realise is that is the thing that you can spend a lot of time and effort worrying about, when in reality you can't do much about it. So change is inevitable. There's change that you'll drive, but there's also change you have to react to. And I think what you're starting to see now is that change is happening at a more rapid pace than ever before.
Yeah, it certainly is. And in your current position as CEO of Benchmark Capital, what would you say is the most rewarding part of your role at the moment? So,
I think the absolute most rewarding part, so we're a financial planning business. And what I would always say is we are in the most privileged position whereby our clients trust us with some of their biggest life decisions that they'll ever make. And every day the stories that we will tell in terms of what we've been able to do with our clients and help them with big decisions. That's probably the most rewarding part. Financial planning is a really purpose-led profession. And the impact of good financial planning that it has on clients is immense. And that's the thing that is most rewarding. So when I talk to our financial planners or some of the firms that we work with, and we look at the impact that we can have on people's lives and the positive change that can come off the back of that, that is the inspiring part of what our profession does overall. And so that's got to be the most rewarding things. I guess on a day-to-day basis, there's probably three things that are brilliant about what we're trying to do within Benchmark. First one is we are working with some of the most fantastic financial planners and financial planning businesses in the country. So we are blessed with great financial planners. So we look at some of the firms that we work with who have been financial planning firms of the year. They're some of the most progressive, forward-thinking firms. That is fantastically rewarding. Within Benchmark, we're fortunate we've got a great team of people. The colleagues that I get to work with are committed, they are aligned about purpose, they're passionate about driving change. And the final thing then, within both Benchmark, but also the support within the Schroders Group, there is a progressive growth focus that says we always want to strive to do more, we want to grow the business. That is also a fantastic reward in the place to be overall as well. And it's, every environment you're in, if you're in any business that's got ambitions, got a desire to grow, is investing money to achieve that growth, that's a positive environment to work within.
So I guess you get the best of both worlds, really, then, in terms of serving your creative passion, the technology, but also the impact it has on consumers out there as well. So I guess it's a pretty fulfilling role. Oh,
of course, and I'm a big believer in being purpose-led, and whether that's in the businesses that we create and work for, or in terms of the impact that you have as an individual. And maybe that goes back to our conversation in my early career. It was never the career plan to be where I am today, but the 25 years that I've had in this industry, what I've done, especially in the last 10 years or so, is gravitated more towards where there's passion and purpose. So where do I think I can make a difference? What motivates me, but also where I can really see that the purpose and the thing that we are trying to achieve as an organisation resonates with something that would make me proud and make the people who work with me proud as well.
That's great, and that leads us on now to Benchmark then, because I've had the pleasure of talking to Gillian Hepburn a couple of times. But I'll ask you the same question in terms of, can you give me an overview of what Benchmark actually is? Because I understand there are different component parts to it. So it'd be great to hear it from you, Ed.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully, and Gillian is far better than me at these. So she'll give you an absolutely concise and precise answer. Benchmarks in some cases, people might say that looks complex. There's got many different parts to it. But look, actually, we're really simple overall. We're a financial planning business. Our aim is to provide a complete integrated solution for the financial planners that we work with. And really what we do is we help those financial planners across their journey as individuals. So it doesn't matter if they are trying to start a business, whether they're trying to run a business more efficiently, whether they're trying to think about how they grow, how they exit. What we are doing is working with those financial planners to really help them with each stage of their journey. And also in our business, what we do is we help financial planners in the way they want to work. So if a financial planner wants a job, then they can come and be employed by us. They want to be self-employed, they can come and do that with us. If they want to run their own independent firm, again, they have that option as well. But for the 1,000 or so financial planners that we work with, what we are doing is providing that integrated solution that provides all the tools and services in one place to support those financial planners.
What would you say the vision is? Are you looking to be the biggest and the best? When people say what the vision is, can you sort of explain where you want to be in the future? What's the end game?
Oh, yeah. So we absolutely, for the high quality financial planners in the market, so we want to be absolutely that quality in the market. We want to be that go-to solution for those financial planners. So where a financial planner goes, the tools, services, and support I need to run my business, we want them to be seeing Benchmark is that preferred solution. Doesn't necessarily mean we want to be the biggest in the market, for the quality end of the market that we operate at, and we do focus on that top 10, 15% of the marketplace, we absolutely want to be that preferred solution that brings together all the tools, support, services, technology that an advisor wants in one place.
Okay, that's great. And I think within the industry, there is choice, though, at the moment. So in your opinion, Ed, what makes Benchmark stand out to those advisors in the top 10 or 15%?
You said there's a couple of different things. And, there's a nice phrase that we use here, which is we talk about adopters and adapters. We are in the adopter mindset. So for financial planners who want to focus their time, effort, attention on the growth of their business and are happy that they rely on someone like a Benchmark to provide the back-end support, that is our business model. That doesn't work for every financial planner in the market. Some people will want to be the adapters. They might want to go tune bits and pieces, assemble it themselves. We do say wholeheartedly, if that's the model, that's probably not the Benchmark solution. In terms of what we really do focus on, what I believe makes us different is there's probably three big things. One is our quality focus. So we tend to only work with chartered financial planners, and there is a quality threshold that we work to. So we do get a lot of people coming to us wanting to work with us. Not everyone do we choose to work with. So there is a quality threshold that we work with, and that is important to us. Second thing is, everything we do, there is a technology thread. So if I look at all the teams that support the Benchmark business, there's a large proportion that work in a technology role, whether it's technology development, whether it's the support of the technology, but proprietary technology has been a core part of what we do. And we believe by owning elements of our technology gives us an advantage because it means we can solve the problems that matter most of our financial planners. But the final one, which comes down to sort of definitely the sort of Schroders ownership, is long-term sustainability. So we're not a roll-up business where we're trying to buy some firms to sell on in due course. The wealth business for Schroders is a long-term business. And therefore, that long-term sustainability of what we do and that focus that we are not here just for the next few years, but the next generation and the future generation, that mindset, it does pay for pretty strongly. A lot of, the peers that we work with maybe don't have that same long-term time horizons. Maybe they're building something for the next 2, 3, 4 years with a view that they go and do something else or there's an exit. And for us, long-term sustainability is a core part. But yeah, quality, technology, long-term sustainability are three big things that make us quite different.
That's great. We're going to talk about tech in a minute anyway, because I think I think we've all gorged on tech at the moment. So I'll be having a conversation around that. So those are the three things that you've said, which are, that separate you from the peers, etc. And in terms of your growth strategy, is it both acquisitive and organic as well?
Yeah, no, so absolutely. So it actually starts the other way around, really, which is organic, and then we look to acquire. So actually, last year we just come off the back of a record year for attracting new advisors. We've had a very positive first quarter. So actually, if we carry on at the current rate, we will, do at least what we did last year, if not slightly better. We have got a very large pipeline of firms who are in the process and wanting to join us, which is positive. That is the organic growth. What's fantastic is the existing firms and advisors that we work with have also got really strong organic growth as well. So those businesses grow because they bring on new advisors, they attract new clients, and that is part and parcel of what the Benchmark business does. Yet we do continue to acquire businesses. What makes us different is the vast majority of businesses that we acquire are already known to us. They've already been part of the Benchmark ecosystem, their long-standing relationships, and they've been through that journey. So what we did last year, a business called Champagne Financial Services, which is run by a guy called Mike Champagne. I always have to say it's not some sort of lifestyle business. But Mike had been with us for 10, 11 years. He adopted all our technology. He was regulated by us. He had good familiarity with our own financial planning business. So that was a very natural evolution for both him as an individual, his advisors, his staff, but most importantly, his clients. And that means that when we acquire, it's quite a different strategy from some of our peers here as well. So as I say, most of those firms that we do acquire, and we do continue to acquire, most of those businesses are already known to us.
I think that's certainly an important point to raise and discuss, because I guess you get the culture fit right then, because they get to know you, you get to know them, where there's a lot of consolidation in the marketplace, and after about 1, 2, 3 years, it starts to fall apart. And we'll talk about the breakaway trend that we're seeing at the moment. So I guess from your perspective, that longevity of a relationship is really important.
Oh yeah, of course. And it's and I think there's a few things that's interesting about the consolidated market at the moment, which is the irony is the one thing that a lot of the consolidated markets are not doing at the moment is consolidating. It's buying businesses and not really bringing them together in the forms that you would expect. That then is going to reflect long term in terms of ability to retain talent, people, culture, etc. But entirely right. I won't want to quite call it try before you buy, but actually that's part and parcel of what benchmark proposition can do. So businesses can join us. Through doing that, we do absolutely provide benefits in terms of helping those businesses grow and develop, run more efficiently, but position them for that time they're ready to think about succession planning. They are in a good position whereby there is a natural home to benchmark, but also it's not it's not a cul-de-sac, so that's not their only option. So again, there's a fairness and a balance in that relationship whereby, if that advisor didn't feel that was the right path, they still have choice as well.
Okay. So keeping on the theme of consolidation, where perhaps they're not consolidating and they're not bringing people on, you wrote an article April last year about the Breakaway Advisor. I think you were quoting somebody else when it was about Polly put the kettle on. Okay. So I'm interested in that because obviously from a recruitment perspective, we work with a number of advisory businesses, and I'm certainly now seeing the breakaway happen quite quickly. But I'm interested in your view in your article and what prompted you to write it.
Yeah, so the Breakaway Advisor it was a trend that was largely seen in the US about a decade ago. So it came out in the US, and the big wirehouses saw a trend whereby some of the advisors in the very large institutions had increasingly started to go off and do their own thing. That's not necessarily a new phenomenon in the UK. That's been happening, for some time. Actually, a lot of the financial planning market, a lot of individuals have come from larger firms in due course. I think what's interesting is the pickup in scale. So last year, we saw about 20 new firms coming into benchmark, whereby it was established financial planners creating their own practice for the first time. And most of those individuals have come from larger integrated firms, actually, including some of the consolidators. I think what's driving that is generally the value creation mindset within some of those individuals, where they know that they've got great client relationships, they're capable individuals, they're clear on the types of businesses that they want to be either part of or want to create. And are confident in their ability to do it, but may have not ever had the experience of doing it. And I will come on to that, I'm sure, in a second, in terms of what support they need. But there is definitely a growing mindset with a number of financial planners, especially people who've been in long-standing employee relationships, which is actually, should I go and do this alone, or should I go and do this myself? And more often than not, and we hear this story time and time again, whereby someone will look into the organisation they're in today and say, "Do you know what? My boss has been through this journey. What's to stop me going through that same journey?" And that's a trade-off, to be clear, on classic salary bonus versus equity. What's the best earnings path for me? And that is also driving that breakaway trend here as well. But we are seeing more and more of it. It's been picking up over the last few years, and it is definitely increasing in terms of the conversations we're having. The biggest thing, which I think is most interesting, is it's generally the confidence of individuals to say, I really want to do it, but am I capable of doing it? And that is the point of friction, which is probably actually holding back more from doing it at the moment.
And if I was an advisor and I was thinking about breaking away, what advice would you give me? And from a benchmark perspective, what support could you give me as well?
Well, so I'll maybe ask the second part of the question first of all, so
okay.
And then we'll sort of connect. Yeah, if you're going through this journey, you've never done this before. You might never run your own company. You might never be a director before. You may never have to apply for regulatory permissions before. You may never have to source the technology and support. So these are things you're going to have to figure out. I guess the benchmark pitch is we do most of that for you. So that is a core part of what we do. I guess the advice overall, there's probably two big parts of it. I would say is, one is, whichever path you go down, what is the support you're going to wrap around to make this happen? So going alone and trying to do it complete yourself is going to be hard. And so whether it is the likes of a benchmark or an equivalent, which organisation or organisations will use wrap around yourself to support you on that journey, especially if you've never done that before. Because that's the hard thing. Because if you're doing it, you're doing it for the first time, these things are hard. As part of that, what we'd always recommend is anyone going down that thought process is talk to others who've gone down that path. Because a number of people who've done it, but would have said, look, if I did this again, I would have done it differently. That learning is important. Again, we do that with a benchmark. The final thing, actually, goes back to what I said earlier, is I do think so many of the people we talk to when they think about breaking away don't always have the confidence that they could do it. I'd actually say more often than not, our belief is if we look at the individuals, they've got the ability to do it. They just need to build the confidence. And it's actually that confidence building takes probably the longest time as people think about it. So I've been in conversations with people for a couple of years where they have been thinking about it, going, I really want to do it, but am I able to do it? And it's that confidence building and saying, actually, this is a good path, and you have the ability to do it. That's probably the biggest thing.
What is it about the confidence then? What's, in your opinion, what's stopping them? So when you look at the confidence, is it? I mean, look, I know I set up a business 20 years ago. I've been through it. I know what it's like. But from an advisor's perspective, I'd be interested to know why they lack the confidence. What is it? Is it clients? Is it the future of the unknown? Is it restricted covenants? Is it everything?
I was talking to an individual. We go to the same place a couple of weeks ago. And maybe I won't say who that was clearly, but I'll give you the sort of circumstances. But this is very, very sort of very, very sort of stereotypical, which is I'm in an employed job, earn a salary, I've got a bonus, I've got family to look after, I've got clients who are loyal. If I change that dynamic, we're suddenly, I am not guaranteed by my earnings. I may have a gap between what I earn today versus when I'm fully back to where I need to be. And ultimately, will my clients absolutely follow me? I think there's also a fear of if I do this, what does my employer do as a result of this? Most employers, when they lose financial planners, don't just wave them goodbye and say good luck. They quite often they've got restrictions as to what they can or can't do. That is also a fear for a lot of people going through that thought process. And so I wouldn't say it's necessarily the fear of the unknown. It's that period and transition of what does it look like. And that uncertainty, which is generally the thing that is about a confidence building.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think You speak to so many professional advisors and they appear outwardly very confident, but when it comes to making a choice about their career, it's difficult. I understand that, and I think from your perspective though, because obviously you're looking at the top 10, 15%, the people that come to you have really thought about it and they've made that conscious decision. But I guess there is quite a lengthy process for them to actually then determine to say, yes, I'm now ready, which in that respect is good for both parties.
Oh, but and again, I would say, we work with so many brilliant advisors, and they are the best of the best in the marketplace. I was talking to an individual this morning who's been through this journey, has created the most fantastic business. I remember talking to him even a few weeks before he went through that process, and there was still some wobbles there. Going, am I really doing the right thing here? And off the back of that, there'll be no looking back now. But yeah, these are big decisions, and it's a bit of the fear of the unknown, which is the question really. So yeah, these are big decisions, but in most cases, the people who've been through this journey, they have not regretted what they've done.
How do you, just a final point on this, how do you overcome the fear of being alone? Because when you're within an organization, you've got colleagues that you can talk to, you have a bad day, you can just, you can vent.
Yeah.
I think when you're working on your own, and I know many people who work on, in their own silo, it can be quite lonely because you don't have that interaction with other people. So how do you support people that maybe are going down that road and maybe fearing being alone and not having people just to vent and bounce ideas off?
So again, I'll talk our own shop a little bit. So this is the benchmark proposition. So if someone comes to us saying that I'm thinking about setting up my own practice, we provide you that support network. We give you individuals you can interact with on a day-by-day basis who will help you on that journey. The other thing that we will always do is we'll introduce you to people who are hopefully local to you, but if not, at least people who've been through the same journey, and we encourage that peer-to-peer interaction and starting to build that network. And so, building those relationships with people who've been down that path, been down that journey, can act as, either mentor, guide, or even just friends when need be. Absolutely, that's what we do. And I guess, as part of the benchmark network of advisors, and that's network in the social sense, not the regulatory sense. We do encourage advisors to get together. We do bring those advisors together, on a regular basis, trying to bring that sense of community and sharing the best practice as well. We recognise that if you were doing it completely alone, and that's why I go back to my point about finding the right support group. Yeah. Whoever's going to support you on that journey is key and critical to that thought process. So I know people like the Verve Group, so Kathy Harrison and team, are doing some work in this space as well, helping people sort of go through that sort of those first steps of establishing the practice. Actually, some of the advisors who come and join Benchmark have come out of that program. Where there's formal structured programs, which again are independent of what Benchmark does, those are also really great places for people to collaborate, meet like-minded firms and advisors going through that same process. So that encouragement to finding people who you can share and learn is got to be part and parcel of how you get through this. Again, we do that within Benchmark as well. It's part of what we do as part of engaging with Breakaway Advisors.
Okay, so let's turn our attention to tech then. Okay, a passion of yours, you said at the start of the conversation anyway, creative, the tech. I think I speak to numerous business owners, and I think over the last 4 years we've gorged on different types of tech. And now what I'm hearing with different business owners is we are now looking at how the tech is integrated and actually the return of investment, because I love a little bit of snake oil. Somebody comes to me and says, I've got some new tech, it's going to do this. I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. And then you end up paying for it and think, okay, it's not actually working, or I can't see the return of investment, or even worse, it's not integrated. And that's the worst thing. So from your perspective and Benchmark, what tech actually do you provide, which, is essential for a financial advisor?
Yes, so to go back to our core proposition, so our actual goal is to make sure that the core technology the advisor needs to run their business is integrated. And your point of integration is the key one. So most, every other advisor we talk to will come to us say, we've got this technology, we're not using our back office properly, it doesn't talk to platforms in the way we want. And so our basic goal is to make sure that the technology we provide integrates and talks to each other. So that solving that pain point is the number one thing. So whether it's sort of client profile into AML to integration to the platform, investment solutions, what we do and we will do more and more of is just to make sure that the technology is integrated. And so it's not just left up to the advisor to go and try and pick and choose and work out how it all be cobbled together themselves. That's the heavy lifting that we do. And your point is absolutely right. The number one frustration today with advisors is lack of integration within the technology that they use, and the rising costs of that technology is a major pain point. So in terms of what we try and do, we try and solve that by delivering one integrated solution that covers the majority of what a financial analyst needs to run their business. That is our goal. In terms of where we also go next, if there are capabilities and areas we are not integrated to support today, we are progressively making sure we build out that integration across all the ecosystem the advisor needs. So we are continuing to look at that. So a good example would be last year, we integrated secure messaging into our services. So what we found is a lot of our advisors were trying to use WhatsApp and third-party message platforms, integrating some of the tools into, say, their email system. The problem is you go back and say, I need to go and get that email from 3 years ago to check a compliance record, and you can't get access to it. Wow. And so one of the things that we did there is we said, look, let's integrate that solution into our core platform so it seamlessly connects. If you need to go back and look at our historic communication, you've got it all in one place.
Do you think Consumer Duties, which I admit I thought was like a TCF Mark II, do you think that's having a bite now as well within the advisory community? But it also can create opportunity within the tech space as well to support how it supports advisors as well?
Oh, yes, a great question. Again, I don't think Consumer Duty technology, they're not absolutely connected, but clearly using technology in the right way is going to help support the Consumer Duty outcomes. I'll maybe give a couple of examples of things that we're doing here that shows how we are using technology to ensure that we are delivering all the right outcomes. So clearly, the regulators very focused on annual reviews at the moment. We made a decision about 3 years ago to put in new annual review technology and workflows and platforms that enables an advisor to really see where they are, close out missing annual reviews, centralize all the reporting, management information. In hindsight now, that was a very good thing for us to do a few years ago, because it means if the regulator were to ask us, where are you on annual reviews, we could do that pretty rapidly. So, I don't think everyone's in that same place, but making sure that the core outcomes that the regulator is expecting, you can evidence and you have the right controls in place is important. The other thing that we did for Consumer Duty, actually, which we did use technology, is the evidencing of value. So actually, we just launched a new platform that enables us to track and evidence customer value. So we're using a very large, actually in this case, third-party customer analytics platform that allows us to take a lot of data points in from the clients and enables us to actually track how we're doing from a value point of view. And so that's one of the things that we are giving to all our advisors as part of our service, is a mechanism of actually be able to demonstrate client by client how we are delivering against the Consumer Duty outcomes. So that's quite unique. You don't see anyone else that has done that in the market. Yeah. And that is something where we have made sure that the technology that supports the end-to-end financial planning proposition is very integrated and connected to those consumer duty outcomes.
Yeah, that's good to know. And in terms of looking forward with regards to tech, what can you see innovation-wise happening over the next couple of years, which you think is going to have a transformative effect on the industry?
Yeah, so I think, I don't think there's any conversation you have these days and you don't mention artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So AI definitely, but I might come back to that in a bit more detail. We remain excited about the opportunities around open finance and where open banking goes next, pension dashboard. If you look at the sort of core pain points that a lot of financial planners have, just aggregating everything in one place, we absolutely see the benefits in that open finance mindset. The other thing that I guess we're excited on is the movement of certain firms to building more open technology ecosystems. So our ability to connect into third-party platforms in a more integrated way. So lots of people would throw around the term APIs. So rather than us having to connect it manually, or even worse, get sent bits of paper or spreadsheets, our ability to connect seamlessly into the third-party services and solutions that we need, massively important in terms of end-to-end productivity. We mentioned AI a moment ago. We're absolutely convinced it's going to have a transformational effect on not just financial planning, but financial services as a whole. I will use your phrase though, snake oil. There's a lot of platforms emerging. There's a lot to learn about where AI can play and which platforms you might want to engage with. But the ability, if you've got your data in the right place, you've got your client experience in the right place to overlay AI, absolutely, there's going to be enormous potentials there for financial planners.
I think the key there is the quality of your data, because everything is drawn in or from that. So if your data quality is quite poor, then obviously the decisions, assumptions are made, it doesn't quite work. And I've been working with a few business owners on their data because they need to get that right. So that's a key component part.
Well, I think it's not just data actually. I think the other part is data privacy. And so one of the things that we're doing a lot of work across the broader group on AI at the moment. We're very focused on creating some walls and boundaries around the data we share with some of these platforms. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing is creating closed ecosystems that don't allow sensitive data to be spread outside of our environment. The number of financial planners who tell me, great news, I've started engaging AI, I'm just plugging data into ChatGPT. I genuinely would not be doing that. And in fact, I think that's going to be the next evolution of where AI goes, is people being very focused on how do I share data and how do I make sure those privacy concerns are managed. So having data in the right place is one thing. The second part is definitely making sure the confidentiality and the privacy aspects of data are respected. That is going to be the next battleground overall.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the security of data is absolutely
imperative,
especially in your sector.
And there's always some horror stories coming out from some of those platforms whereby I think there was one example whereby confidential salary data had been replayed out to, I think, ChatGPT, etc., because someone had plugged it in. And they said, great news, I've got this data from XYZ company, I can tell you what the average salary was paid. The platforms are also maturing. They're maturing at a rapid pace, but trying to think through which is the right platform to engage with, what's the right technology, and what aligns with the business. That's a big question for most businesses. So a lot of the work that we are doing at the moment as a group is working through which are the right partners and platforms to engage with and the right use cases. But in financial planning, use cases for suitability report writing, transcription from client calls, rapid report writing, better compliance oversight checks. The opportunities for AI are significant.
obviously we're now sort of future gazing, which I always find quite interesting. So are you relatively positive about the future when it comes to AI, AGI, and the relationship between a financial planner and a person as well, or a client?
Yeah, I think, you know, and we've been through similar journeys in the past, and you can say AI is the next generation, and it might be a sort of a bigger impact. But I guess when I started my career in a sort of .com era, everyone was sort of worried, going, "Oh, is that the end of any human interaction in its own rights?" And I guess 25 years on, we're not, as much as we use digital technology more and more and more, hasn't fully replaced the value of a human being, and AI has got some way to go. I guess ultimately, if you were to look at, ultimately someone engaging with a financial planner, what people most value overall, it's the trust in the relationship, it's the human interaction. Those things are just not going to get replaced anytime soon by technology. And actually, there's a phrase we often use here, which is talking about different aspects of what a financial planner does. And this idea of, are you the mechanic or are you the guide? The mechanical aspect of financial planning, look, it's probably not even AI. You can automate, and a lot of that you can use technology to manage. So the actual, here's my circumstance, what should I do? Yeah, there's a lot that technology can play there. The guide, the coach element, that's really hard to sort of build trust with technology. And going back to what we covered earlier in terms of the impact that a great financial planner can have on a person's life, those services are highly valuable. They're highly personable. They're built on trust. They're built on human interaction. And ultimately, the financial planners see themselves as that coach and that guide, more than the mechanic. It is sort of key in the future. And technology is way, way off from replicating and replacing that human interaction.
I think it'll be a marriage between the two. I think you'll have the technology to support the advisors, but it's an intrinsic trust with the advisor, because you're talking about someone's accumulated wealth, family wealth, what the impact it has on their children. It's absolutely huge. So I think it's a marriage. Where that goes in 5, 10, 15 years, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting. But if we look at the industry as a whole, you enjoy the industry because of the pace of change. It's changing, and it's going through a rapid change. So what do you think the industry or the profession looks like over the next 5 years? What do you think is going to be, if you look back, the major changes that you predict now?
Yeah, so I say it's not just because I'm in the industry. I absolutely look and say, for the segment of the financial services market we're in, financial planning is going to thrive. If you were to look at other markets and industries, what you've seen is a shift from traditional product manufacturing into service-based models, shifting to models where there's more proximity to clients. That plays into the arms of a financial planner, which has got to be a good place to be. The other thing that I always look at is the fundamentals that drives any market. Demographics. There's more people approaching key moments in their life, especially at retirement, who generally going to want advice. And I always look at sort of the reason why someone might come to a financial planner is they lack the time, will, and skill to manage their finances. And if anyone looking at their day-to-day life, time is the most precious commodity. And actually, time is the thing that I think we're all constantly find that we have less and less of. Will. The big life moments that we need help on, those things are becoming more impactful. People are worrying more about them. They're becoming more complex, so the will's not going to change. And skill. I don't think anything's going to upskill people's financial services industry in the next 1 or 2 generations, really, at the moment. So generally, people don't have the skills to manage those complex decisions. So from that point of view, it plays into financial planning being a market that's going to grow and grow in demand. what's going to be interesting is how does the market evolve to use technology to improve the supply of financial planning and financial advice. I think that's going to be the thing that is going to be exciting to be part of. So definitely in anything we do as an organisation, what we always focus on is how do we put more time into our financial planners' hands to give more support to more people. So if we can make a process more efficient, if we can take an hour out of a journey, if we can eliminate a need to integrate into another service, that mindset of actually giving our advisors and their support teams more capacity to deal with more clients and have more face time with knowing that that's what clients value the most, that could help us meet that growing demand.
Okay, so you're optimistic towards the future. I agree, by the way. I think it's a great time to be in the profession. I really do. I think it's going through massive change, but there's so much opportunity out there. There really is. So my final question to you, Ed. So if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing within the profession, what would it be?
Oh, wow. That's probably the hardest question you could ask me. Without giving you a long list, the one big thing is that it's the constant development of the profession. Financial planners always talked about how do you get, held up alongside other professional standards and professional bodies. We're just not quite there yet for all the positive changes. But the key thing is actually how do you continue to raise the bar of professional standards? Unfortunately, still the reputation of financial planning is impacted by a few bad characters. That does impact how the industry grows. But that constant strive to say the minimum professional standards are just not going to be enough. So how do you take the profession on and grow and develop and push? That's the magic wand, and that mindset of saying, actually, we've just got to strive better and better and better. And wherever the professional standards are today, you've got to push on, like other professional services industries would do as well.
Yeah, just keep pushing on.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that takes us to the top of the hour, Ed. Thank you for today. Any final thoughts or points from you before we wrap up this podcast?
I'm going to say thank you. I've enjoyed the conversation, but yeah, like you, I think both you and I do share the same belief that it's never probably been a better time to be a financial planner. And yeah, I think over the next few years, it's an even more exciting industry to be part of.
It absolutely is. No, thank you very much, Ed, for joining me today on In The Know.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.